Hi, I'm the Nomad producer with startproducingmusic.com, and today we're going to produce a hip-hop track. So I'm starting to produce an EP for a really talented saxophone player. He started a few arrangements by himself. I want to go through the whole process with you guys. We'll open the tracks together, talk about what it is that needs to be done, and go through everything from beginning to end. So here are the tracks he sent me. Let's import everything, all the MIDI files, all the WAV files, and understand what it is that we like, what it is that we don't like, and move on from there. So I already understand I don't really like the kick drum. Okay. I really like the saxophone sound though. The pad isn't really cool. The Rode is a good idea, but not a good sound. And yeah, I really like how sloppy the saxophones are. The groove needs to be a bit more sloppy. Nice, this is awesome. Alright, and the solo. And then it just goes into a mess. Solos going over solos. Alright, I think I understand the direction. As producers, it's way more important for us to try to understand what a person was intending to do. What I am hearing here is that the main thing that we'll need to do here is aesthetic choices and to just stylize what he already has done. When I start arranging, the first thing I do is either take care of the scenery the song is in, take care of the groove, or just search for inspiration if the person is completely off track, but this is not the case here. I think we'll start with the groove, and because this is the first song of a whole EP, I'll invest some time in creating a drum rack that is custom tailored for this project and which I'll import to every new song that we work on, so this EP will have a coherent sound to it. I'll just fast forward through this. I'll be using Splice and my own samples that you can either find here or in the description below. So I'll open Battery and I'll fill a whole row of kicks, whole row of snares. If I would work on a different software like Ableton's drum rack, I would create a different order for simplicity's sake, but this is how I work here, and let's get to it. Alright, so this does take some time, but I highly recommend investing the time needed because this will save you time along the way, and this is what I got to. So very much hip-hop R&B oriented, but is flexible and gives me the option to play with colors during the course of a song. So the beat he wants to go for is a pretty simple one. I've muted the drums. Let's add a click track and do a simple kick and snare pattern. That'll do. Let's add some clicks maybe. So I'll add these every other snare. Definitely sounds better than what we started with, which is this. So you see, sound is a really big part of the arrangement. That's why I've invested a lot of time in finding the right samples. You can't really leave stuff for the mix. There's no good reason. Just enjoy what you do as you do it. Let's just look for a loop that will support the kind of drunk feel. I found something perfect because it doesn't really have a kick or a snare. Let's give it a listen. So this really supports the feel that I was looking for. I'll invest 1 second to try to create something a bit more unique about it, because the problem with Splice and samples that everyone can use is that everyone can use them. So let's insert Sketch Cassette, which is an amazing plugin, and around until we find something that is a bit more unique. Let's add some spring reverb. Let's see how that works. Cool. That's good enough for me. So this goes bye-bye. Next thing I want to bye-bye is the pad. Yeah, this goes away. Now in his arrangement, he started with the groove, but now that I recorded and I started only after the line, I really liked how the song started with the saxophones. And let's emphasize this. Let's pan this right, let's pan this left. We'll see what happens. And I'll add from my sample pack a swell to just emphasize that the song is starting. So I'll go to Nomad Samples Volume 1, Percussion, Swell. Let's choose one that we like. Import this one, lower the volume. Yeah. And maybe to support this, we'll add a snare on the 4. Cool. So let's see how this works. This sounds so much better already, and I'll say again, don't be lazy with choosing your samples. This is a live demonstration of how impactful that is. So the next thing I think I want to deal with is the bass. I'm going to be using the Moog Grandmother to synthesize a very simple bass synth, but you can definitely use Serum or any other software synth to create a synth like this. This is not going to be a synthesis lesson because I mainly want to focus on how to create a beat, but if you are interested in synthesis and in music production in general, you can find way more information in my course, Start Producing Music. Cool, that'll do for now. This bass goes bye-bye. Next up, the Rhodes. Let's add to this Keyscape, which is a fantastic plugin. I'll use the Warm preset, which I think will work great. So only from looking at this, I can see that we need to do some editing. Let's add a bass here. I'm adding the root note. Let's add a bit more meat. The second chord is so spacey, maybe we can add a bit of a line to it. Let's try to add this. So let's finish off with just creating a bit of a structure for the song that we can send to an MC and have him rap over it. Let's say this is an intro. Intro. Is it safe to say that will be a chorus or a hook? So let's call this hook 1. After a hook, it will only make sense to have a verse. So I'll take the whole solo section and all the solos coming after it and just push them forward. Let's move it to the next part and save this for the rapper to rap on. We'll have a solo here, the same length of the verse. Only makes sense. Verse, bam. This is really important for me because I don't want to send the rapper something that is just confusing. So even if this isn't what we'll end up with, at least it is easy to work with. So we'll call this verse 2, and then maybe hook 2. We didn't have a hook for a while. We can have a hook for the intro and the outro. This is a solid place to start with. I guess I'll want to record the Rhodes with a keyboard player. I'll definitely want to bring Neil over to record the saxophones again. And as for the rapper, I think I'll send this to Tapas, which is one of the most talented musicians I know. I think he'll be great on this song because he's not the obvious choice. This is pushing towards a very specific direction, and he actually raps in Arabic, and I think maybe we'll give this song a very cool color. So I'll send this over and we'll see what we get to.